Let me see here. Vocal Dialect, we back, y'all. How everybody doing? We have Shaka General Sankofa in the building. We also have our guest, Brother L. Abdul Malik Muhammad. Our other co-hosts, Brother Gerald and Brother Ken, they might not be with us tonight. But peace and power, family. We got a real special guest tonight, and we're gonna be having a serious conversation. We're gonna be chopping it up. Go ahead, brother. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Peace, love, and light. Black power to you, my dear brother, Knowledge Born 7, and our General of the Street Law Soldiers, the Honorable General Tashaka Sankofa. My name is El Malik Abdul Muhammad. I am the West Coast Regional Representative of the Street Law Soldiers under the guidance, teachings of Tashaka Sankofa. I am the founder of the Street Law Soldiers West Coast chapter of the Rites of Passage program. I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, I'm a sibling. I am a two-time former lobbyist of the state of California under former governors Gray Davis, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Governor Jerry Brown. I am also I was part of two historical elections back in 2008, serving as a campaign member of the Barack Obama historical election out of his Sacramento office, and at the same time working to help former NBA player and All-Star Kevin Johnson become the first Black mayor of his home city of Sacramento, California. And I'm honored and privileged to be here today. And I just want to make a few announcements if I can. First of all, I want to say this is not a Donald Trump bashing session. I am a nonpartisan independent, which means I take a little bit from each party that benefits me and my people. And I am here today to strictly educate and ask questions in any category having to do with politics, especially the federal programs that Donald Trump has on the chopping block. And again, thank you for having me, Honorable Knowledge Born 7. Thank you.
No problem, my brother. No problem.
Waiting for you, sir.
Go ahead, brother. Tell us about the program. Tell us about we were talking about earlier on the phone as far as what you were speaking about as far as Donald Trump.
Thank you, sir. About a week ago, just a week or so ago, Donald Trump did what's called an executive order. And in order for you guys to understand what an executive order is, let me explain it to you. An executive order is basically a temporary law. It can be signed in or out by whatever sitting president of whatever political party. So, for instance, if I am the outgoing Joe Biden and I signed off to make it a executive order for car washes to only accept dollar bills and no quarters, that executive order is only good for as long as I'm in office. Unless if I'm a Democratic president like Joe Biden, I come in and continue it. However, if you come in, brother Knowledge Born 7, as an example, of course, I'm not putting anybody on the spot, and you are a Republican governor, going to be president, you can come right in on the first day, which is usually what, January the 20th, and that same executive order, you can exit it out and redo a new executive order that says, as of January the 20th, 2025, Republican President Knowledge Born 7 says that car washes can start collecting coins again. So it's only temporary And that's why I want people to understand exactly what an executive order is. Number two, just because an executive order is signed by the president, it is not a law. It is not a law that has went before the Congress, which means it has not been voted on the left in the Senate. It has not been voted on the right with the House of Representatives. If you know politics, as I try to teach, you bring those together, that makes up the Congress. Congress actually has more power than a sitting president because, again, even an executive order can be challenged, which is why you hear usually the opposite party of the sitting president that has signed said executive orders that we're going to see you in court. So again, just because an executive order is signed does not mean that it cannot be challenged. And we must understand, people, that executive order is not the same as a voted on law by the Senate. I want to make that perfectly clear. And it's only as good, it's like a driver's license. Here in California, the average is 4 years. It's only as good as the sitting president is in office. And just as fast as it was signed into law, it can be signed out of law. So I want to explain that first. So about roughly 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump basically signed executive orders to freeze all federal programs. Anything from Social Security, food stamps, SSI, after school programs, lunch programs, any program, let me make this clear, any and all program from letters A to Z, if I'm not mistaken, there's 26 letters in the alphabet. If it's federally funded, it is on the table and it's not off limits. Now, the reason why it was blocked, basically the next morning when I woke up, it was blocked because Brother Knowledge Born 7, the way it worked is, number one, most of the programs for that session had already been signed off by the exiting Congress, which means the money had already been okayed for all of these programs to get their money. So that's the number one reason it was blocked. Number two, legally, he could not stop all of those programs at one time. That is literally shutting down a country. The president does not have the power to do that. Any questions so far from any one of the general or you, Brother Knowledge Born 7? If not,
so pretty much, one president makes those decisions. It's a lot of fear behind it. A lot of fear behind it because the people don't know politics. They don't know government.
Oh my God! Thank you, sir.
That's pretty much it. So by them being, unlearned in that particular area, the media takes it, soak it up, and be like, Trump is changing law. Trump is changing history. But one thing I want to ask you though is, I wonder why the media is doing that when they know the truth and they know law.
Let me back up to do your first part because Brother Knowledge Born 7, you know my work, you've seen my live, I have constantly pounded my head to get Black people to understand. You are not participating in understanding the entire political process because every 4 years you bring those fucking stickers out and vote for president. It is important, exactly as you said. If you understand government, you have nothing to fear. If you understand government, you don't need to have a timeline like mine and having friends and family that are giving you a report every time Donald Trump signs something, every step he makes, every time he fought, because you're absolutely right. What is something else that I teach on in one particular word? Fear. Fear can get most people to do most anything. Fear can get most people to do most anything. And the media is not like it used to be. You look at the media now, Brother Knowledge Born 7, it's not like me. It's no longer nonpartisan. Let me give you perfect examples that you will know. No one that is listening can argue. You go to Fox, it's heavily what? Red Republican. You go to CNN, it's heavily what? Blue Democrat. You go to MSNBC. What is it? What is it? What is it did? It's mostly what? Blue Democrat. This is why I am an avid proponent of doing your own reading and research. If I go to Knowledge Born 7 and he has an article that piques my interest, I'm not going to take that article, Knowledge Born 7, and just automatically share it and copy it to my page. I'm going to do reading and research. That way, if you get 4 or 5 different stories, Brother Knowledge, there's an old saying that my mom taught me and my 9 siblings and so many others. So many, a whole lot of people can't be telling the same lie. So if you would sit down, stop running with the media, stop letting the media control your feelings and emotions, and take this same internet that you use to get on dating sites, of course, social media, to text, to use your phone. If you would take that and sit down and do your own reading and research, that would. I lost your picture, brother. I don't know if you can hear me, but I lost your picture.
I can hear you good. Yeah, okay. I can hear you.
Okay. That would eliminate the fear. So I got excited when you brought that up, brother Knowledge 17, because with all due respect, it tells you and those like the general how important self-reading and researching is. Why does the media there do that? Because they are no longer nonpartisan. Media sits in front of those teleprompters, and not only reading, they're not only not reading their own words. You have people that their only job is to put the news into that teleprompter, and you as a news person sits there and read it. What has happened, brother, is that the media now put their own feelings and emotions into it. And what drives people? Feelings and emotion, i.e. fear, okay? And this is why those like you, those like our Honorable General, myself, we don't get scared every time something happens in this world. We don't get excited if it's something good. We don't get stressed and depressed all into our feelings and emotions if it's something bad. This is why, again, before we go any further, I will continue to beat my people up, because the best way to eliminate that problem with fear is sit on your ass, the end of your bed, your dining room table, outside on the porch, smoking a blunt, on your back porch, having lemonade or a shot of bourbon. Do your own reading, then your own research. And I guarantee you, whether you want to or not, you're going to find the truth.
Right.
Any questions?
Well, I got a comment. Christopher DeWitt says, it's similar to the court of law. We commit crime and don't know the law, and we put our faith in a lawyer, and we fear the fear of the judge. That's right, brother Chris. That's my little subject right there. The court of law. But everybody know the court of law is not the law of the law is not the laws of the land. It's laws of the water, Admiralty Maritime Equity Law. That's how I kind of understand a little bit what my brother Malik Muhammad is coming from.
There you go.
And then all crime. And then you say you commit crimes and don't know the law, and that's another thing too, because a lot of us can try our own cases and go into court pro se, but we have to study to make sure we know what we're talking about, and then we have to learn too that all crimes are commercials, and a lawyer just means he's your mouthpiece in court, and that does pull up a lot of fear. You know what I'm saying? Because they drag you into court, then sometimes they drag you in without your people knowing. That's if you're incarcerated. But if you out. If you're not incarcerated, they have you come to court. You can't bring a lot of people to court with you, and then they play mind games and try to get you tricked up. But yeah, it does put a lot of fear in you. Go ahead, brother Malik.
Well, actually, I don't really have anything to add to it, because number one, it was a great question from my fellow street law soldier, Christopher DeWitt, and he kind of answered his own question. And then, of course, with that being one of your specialties, Honorable Knowledge Born 7, you have pretty much summed it up. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And the lawyer is a mouthpiece, and it's not the lawyer. The lawyer don't really care if you committed the crime. That's why you have what's called lawyer and client privileges. O.J. Simpson, Johnny Cochran may have went to his grave knowing that O.J. Simpson could commit. His job is to get O.J. Simpson off. That's his job. However, like you just said, O.J. Simpson, which we all do in the court of law, had the right to represent himself.
Yep.
Doesn't have the knowledge to do it. He didn't have the time to do it because, as you know, once he went in, he never got bail. What happened? He never got out until the day that the decision came in. So we don't even have to go anywhere with that anymore. Excellent question, excellent answer. The more you know on your own, the better you benefit. Because if you let the media control you, and a lot of it, brothers and sisters, is that not just the media. A lot of our people are social media educated. And that's the example that I gave you using you. They take Knowledge Board 7. If he said it, it must be true. Not knowing that in the caption he can put whatever he wants and cut some of it off. That's what happened. So many of us in the age of social media are simply social media educated. So this is the damage, brother Knowledge Born 7, that we're doing to each other from misplaced feeble feelings. Y'all know this is my favorite saying, misplaced feeble feelings and erratic emotion. You're letting the media control, and then you're social media educated. You bring those two, that is a combustible for fear, panic, stress, unnecessary pressure. See, I got people since, here's my folder, brothers and sisters. This is my nonprofit folder, brother Knowledge Born 7. These are all different folders of cases where people have had me downloading, looking at stuff just in nonprofit because of Donald Trump signing those executive orders. And basically, let me say this before we go any further, because I don't want to leave this out because it's coming and he has the right to do it. Basically, what Donald Trump is doing, he's doing a federal government audit. Okay, let me make that perfectly clear. He's doing an overall federal government audit. What does that mean? Let's go back to where I first started. Any program, I don't care if it's 1,000 or 100 million or 100 billion, any program that gets a grant, or another word is a subsidy from the federal government, they have the right to go in and do what? Have your ass open your books.
Yeah.
Dot your I's and cross your T's. If you ain't did anything wrong, you don't have anything to worry about. However, this is another problem that I have with our people. And that word that you use, brother Knowledge Born 7, that one word, fear. And I know the general even more than you know. I beat our people up because of fear. And this is why. Because, number one, if you know that your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, you don't have anything to worry about. But the main thing is we complain as taxpayers, rightfully so. Y'all give all these monies out at the state and federal level. In this case, we're talking about the federal. To all these different branches. And what is this money? Let me give you an example. All the billions and billions of dollars that Gavin Newsom has gotten from the federal government during the Obama 4 years administration. Yet, homelessness have went up 22% around the country, 12% in California, which has the largest percentage of homeless out of all 50 states. So if you're a taxpayer, you should want a government to come in and say, hey, what the hell are these people that you giving away billions and millions of dollars to? What the hell are they doing with my money? The highways are still messed up. You still got grandmas pissing in 5-gallon buckets over the freeway. You got homeless children. So what that does is the federal government is monitoring the money that they're giving to these programs. Unfortunately, nonprofits are no different. Nonprofits are no different. And this is where my work has started in this big ass folder with all of these folders since he signed that executive order, which was blocked by sunset the next morning, because people want me to look at paperwork, make sure everything is whether I wrote a grant for them or not, because if you look at my business card, I also do nonprofit management. So I can also help a nonprofit get off the ground, because you can't get a grant until you have a nonprofit that established the mission statement, the board of directors, and all of that. So what Donald Trump is doing, and he will be allowed to do it. That's why I don't want our people to get comfortable with the block. Because let me tell you guys something. A lot of these programs will not come back. Remember what I've explained, executive order. A lot of these programs will not come back under these programs, under the executive order. But like me and the general was talking about yesterday in our bill, a lot of these will also end up in court or just simply be thrown out. But where we get comfortable at is, well, we can go to court or it can get thrown out and then we'll get comfortable. I want to make it perfectly clear. A lot of these programs will be eliminated during this 4-year period under executive order. It depends on what the program is. And just for some of you that may not remember, let me briefly go over some of them with you very, very quickly. Medicaid. Difference between Medicaid and Medi-Cal here in California. I don't know what it's called in other states. School and breakfast and lunch program. Okay? Those are programs that get funding from the federal government. Section 8, rental housing. Okay? Education grants. Going to school. Pell grants. You know, people take that money and spend it. And what they do, you go to class for the first 2 weeks, general, you never see them again. Because they take the Pell Grant money and go buy rims for their car. That's what education grants are. See, we laughing at this stuff because we know that that's what our people do, yet we don't want the government to manage our tax dollars. You can't have it both ways, is the point that I'm trying to make. State grants for child care, Head Start program, okay? Special nutritional programs like Meals on Wheels for seniors, okay? EPA, Environment Protection Agency, they get grants from the federal government. You get developments, community and development block grants. Just yesterday, I got a grant. I think I told the general, I got an email because I still get emails from the state of California as a former registered lobbyist with the state of California, and I get them from the federal government as a grant writer. So I'm sharing this with you guys because some of these programs will actually be signed off and be able to go into executive order in all of the 4 years that Donald Trump is in office. We don't know yet. We don't know yet because remember, as of right now, it has a temporary block. But this is where it gets tricky and dangerous, brothers and sisters. Anytime an executive order goes into court, the judge can let, and this is kind of like in your specialty, Knowledge Born 7 in court, the judge can let the executive order stand until what? A final decision is made. See, okay. This is why you now you see what I mean when I said in your area of law, the court can let that executive order stand until the final decision is made. We don't know yet because the block is still off. But is the fight over? Absolutely not. because this is what? His 9th or 10th day. He has 4 years, y'all, to do this. Y'all say, oh, Brother Malik, Donald Trump may die. Well, what the hell you think you got a vice president for? What the hell you think he's going to do? He's going to carry over the same policies as what, Knowledge Born 7? The damn president that fell out and had a fucking heart attack. Don't you guys remember Kamala Harris wouldn't speak against Joe Biden?
Nah.
On the flip side, don't you see how Trump's first vice president and him don't speak, don't get along? Why? Because he did what most vice presidents don't do to the president that they work under. He spoke out against him and told him he was wrong. This is not brain surgery, brothers and sisters, but it's every bit about learning how your government works at the local, state, and federal level, and exactly the responsibility of each politician. I don't give a damn who they are, period. And until you do the work, General, until you do the work, Knowledge Born 7, I'm going to end so you can speak with exactly where we started at not long ago in this lecture. The media, as far as TV and radio, social media platform, you bring them together, and what's that word, Brother Knowledge Born 7? Fear. Fear can do, black people will do most anything out of fear. And this is why I call it misplaced emotions and feelings, because emotions and feelings messes up your chakra, and it's not necessary. Emotions or feelings are delicate, and they should be used accordingly. But what you see up and down Facebook all day, every day, you got somebody on your friends list that's giving you a blow by blow of every goddamn thing Trump and the Republicans doing. So what are they doing, Knowledge Born 7? What are they doing, General? What are they doing, listening? They're contributing to what's called, y'all remember this TV show? The Fear Factor. They're contributing to the Fear Factor. And that's why you got most black people up in arms, and it's not necessary. Sit out. You explain going to court elegantly, brother. You sit out and let what? The courts take its course. That's why having a good lawyer is good. That's why, again, not excluding what you said. We got to get back to it, lawyer or not. The more knowledge you have also is more ammunition for your lawyer, or in this case, in OJ's case, the all-star team. So just because you got a Johnny Cochran, bless his soul, as a lawyer, don't mean you have to be ignorant to the law.
Right. And that's a maximum law. Ignorance of the law is no excuse or no defense. I want to say two things and that Shaka speak. One, you talked about the fear, false evidence appearing real, and also what the position the United States have as the government. So the nonprofit, as I was educated up under the IRS code, is pretty much saying anything within the United States that is conducting business, some form of business in the United States, is only the benefit for the United States. So they teach us that church and state don't mix, allegedly, but at the same time, you do have other codes that is in the IRS code book that is pertaining to nonprofit, and will also allow the government to bind them where they can do the audit because they're getting the benefit, and that's pretty much it. Go ahead, Brother Shock, if you have something to say.
I'm just actually I'm hearing everything, all of this supreme information, that our people are so naive and so uneducated about their fate. And as always, fear. And this fear that the media, social media, television, movies, radio is imposing is not something new. It's only been just intensified based on the times. This fear has always been implemented, always have been implemented. And so, and that can go back 100 years, 200 years of this fear being implemented, because that fear is a combination of post-traumatic slave disorder and just plain oppression, depression, and suppression. But a lot of people don't know that the president really is only in charge of the military. This is why he's called the commander in chief. Well, he should be called the commander in thief, but his title is commander in chief. This is why any of the presidents, past and present, anytime they can snap their finger and they can maneuver and call on military forces at the drop of a hat, because that's what they are in charge of. And a lot of people really don't know historically how that actually began, because if you look back in history, most presidents were either generals in the military or they were high-ranking officials in the military. And
Absolutely.
so that's the term commander-in-chief. The president can only recommend and write down these executive orders, and it has to go through an array of people. And most of the times, depending on what party it is, the opposite party is always going to be in opposition of whatever the opposite party presents in terms of an executive order. But when they get us in fear, this is how you control the people. Everybody's on pins and needles. All of the slaves are on pins and needles. But you know, the majority of the people, the globalists, the so-called middle class, the athletes, the entertainers, you never hear them say anything in terms of having any type of fear in terms of their future. It's only the people that are struggling, that are illiterate, politically illiterate. And every time a president gets on television, whatever he says, they look at it as the law has basically has already been passed, because they don't have any, they're not politically educated.
There you go.
So it's emotions. You know, all the slaves are crying, all the slaves are worried, all of them are going to the nigger preachers, praying, trying to get some salvation for nothing. It's nothing to really be concerned about. Nothing. And even if it was, just say, for instance, all of those bills were passed, I think that as a result of us spending so much time twerking, drinking, drugging, being entertained, dressing up, being sports zealots, incorporating this sexual deviancy, this pervertiveness in the Black communities, allowing our brothers and sisters to be homeless, helpless, and hungry, that the ancestors are really, really pissed off and fed up with how our conduct is for what they have laid their lives down and gave their blood, sweat, and tears for, that we have, the way we thank them is we have acquired this mental illness called individualism. And so maybe this is the ancestors telling us this is the last straw, in an attempt to bring us together for us to actually unite. You know, because we're so used to having our mental, moral, and spiritual lips around the government's nuts and being pacified and being given trinkets, you know, and hush money in terms of Section 8 in terms of food stamps, in terms of welfare and child support. And so many of our people have fraudulently have abused that, these opportunities that are supposed to be used as stepping stones to Black independence, that now they are in complete panic. And, you know, they want, and they're having these temper tantrums and they want what they want. But see, it's not going to happen like that. These planes crashing and all of this stuff, these are just distractions to, you know, these are the candles on the cake of fear. These are the candles.
Yes, sir.
And so, you know, everybody you hear in the store, you see them in the store, in the supermarket or whatever. First thing they mention is about planes and Trump and undocumented individuals. You know, nothing else, nothing in terms of how can we unite. This may be the end for us. We need to start making some changes within ourselves, within our own communities. We'll always give ourselves a daily dose of Stockholm Syndrome. And so the time is coming where, you know, it's either going to be, and the ancestors are telling us this, you know, it's a few people, it's a handful that are out here in the trenches. And if the rest of y'all don't get in line and fall in line and join those who's laying their lives out day in and day out, rolling the dice in terms of, you know, their own personal lives and what have you, then they're gonna run a play on us that may cost everybody. And I hope that's not the case, because, you know, that will destroy the next 3-4 generations.
I do want to say this real quick before Brother Malik speak. When you essentially getting benefits from the Corporation of the United States of America, they can pretty much do what they want to do. And as we get to a higher understanding of what's going on, we don't have no choice but to unify, because if we keep contracting with them and not unify together, it's only going to make the people who doesn't know how to handle or doesn't even know anything about government continue to ask for more benefits. So you're asking for more authoritarian leadership. You're asking for more. You're asking for more things that someone is going to be govern you, because you can't govern yourself. We do have one question. Brother Chris said, what do you think would have happened if all our people refused to even vote in 2024 because Kalama ran off and let our people that did vote in sorry now, the hollering, the battle, not our, it's the Lord's. And also, Brother Chris says, what should be our next move as a people? So there go 2 questions for you, brother.
First of all, another problem I have among our people is this political division. Let me back up. Excellent point from the general. Brother Knowledge Born 7, you came in and put an explanation point on what the general covered. I'll get to those questions. Let me do this so I won't lose track, if you don't mind.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
First of all, let me back up. Executive orders, like basically the ones that have the blockage on them, have always been on the books. What has happened, Knowledge Born 7, is Trump, although he's a long ways from being the only Republican president, of course, Trump is the first president that has decided, here we go again, to reverse the executive order and take a look at these programs. So a lot of these executive orders that he's signing, a lot of them have never been used before, and our people, from not only being ignorant to the laws of government, because they're not used often, they think that they're new, but they're not. Exactly. Matter of fact, when they were getting the DEI mixed up with affirmative action, DEI was written in really with Donald Trump, but if you look at the history, Lyndon Baines Johnson signed off on something in the same category way back in like 1964. So this is another reason why it's important to learn how your government works. Number two, brothers and sisters, most of these programs, exactly as the general said, if you search history, they were called I forgot the word, but they were all intended to be temporary programs. Exactly what you said, Knowledge Born 7, not for you to get comfortable and live your life off of them. The government is no different than your next door neighbor got a kid who came over and gave your son a ball and then took it back the next day. They can give you these programs, brother. They can take them away. Why we get upset about them is because we did exactly partially what the general said and other partially what you said. We became totally, through these programs, dependent on the government. And when the more you ask, as you said, Knowledge Born 7, the more control you give the government. You give the president. Basically, every 4 years, depending on you and how you live your life, you are deciding through a president who's going to control your life. Let me say that again. Every 4 years, depending on how you live your life, how intensified any of these programs may be a part of your life, you are basically voting for who's controlling your life. And that's where the fear. Donald Trump didn't bring racism to America. Donald Trump didn't bring racism to the White House. What Donald Trump did do that's also different, like the interruption of these programs, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is the waiter that'll spit in your food and slide it across to you on the table. We are used to the chef in the kitchen, like you see in the gangster movies where they spit in it, and you don't know that racism spit is in your food. And I can't speak for nobody else. Serve me my racism. Well, I know, Knowledge Born 7, I can take that plate that Donald Trump, the racist, in front of my face spit in, and not only let it slide across the table, let it land on the goddamn floor, and somebody's dog come and slop it up. Okay? That's it. Donald Trump does what he says he's going to do. The Democrats, this is historical, have made, they contribute to this because here we go again with what you and the general have said, they have made our people comfortable, lazy, entitled. Why do you think the Democrats always give us something, unlike the president who has the right to do it? They just don't tend to take it back. But this is what they do, and then we'll get those two questions answered. Y'all know Claudine is one of my favorite movies. Every black family should have that movie with James Earl Jones and Diane Carroll and Lawrence Fishburne, our boy, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, in their home. You know who sent that white woman that played the caseworker? The Democrats sent them to Diane Carroll's house. It was a Democratic family. That was the part you heard where they're talking about the neighbors telling on her. It's the Democrats that had him hiding in the closet with the TV on his head. Because Knowledge Born 7, here we go again, something you said. We'll give you Section 8. We'll give you a check. We'll give you some food stamps. But James Earl Jones can't stay in your house. The more we give you, the more control we have. So here come the white lady. Did you ever hear Diane Carroll say in the movie it was an appointment? No. She come when she won't do. Who gives her that right, Knowledge Born 7? The food stamp program, the welfare check program, and the low rent. So put the black man out the house, pacify the black woman, and we're in control. Now give me the questions again, brother, please, if you don't mind.
Brother Chris DeWitt said, what do you think would have happened if all our people refused?
Stop right there. I got it. First of all, another thing that pisses me off with black people, because I'm not like other folks. See, we have this habit of soon as we call somebody out that look like us, we immediately go to what somebody else did in another race. You talk about Diddy and you talk about our boy R. Kelly. The first thing most black people do is, well, what about what the other guy did? See, that's our problem. You shouldn't worry about what's going on in the other race, because the attention that you're giving that is attention that you could be given to shut down the Diddy's and the R. Kellys that's running rapid in your neighborhood. See, I don't never do that. See, every time it's a category, the first thing we do overwhelmingly is worry about what the next race does. First of all, Negroes, the system was designed for your black ass to win. It was designed for the Epstein to do what he did and hopefully get away with it. But it don't mean you can do it, Knowledge Born 7, because your black ass going to jail with no bail. What is my point? We have the first thing every 4 years, like the general said, he go an infight with the black people. Nobody doing this but black people. I done traveled all over the world. Don't know how to do infight like black folk. You say you didn't vote for Kamala, they will swear up and down to God and make you testify. You must have voted for Trump. Now looking at, I just posted it, I think either today or yesterday. First of all, Brother Christopher, 18 to 20 million people didn't vote at all. What does that mean? 18 to 20 million eligible voters decided to no longer fall for voting for the lesser of the two evils. Okay? Kamala Harris was a bad candidate. See, because what we do, 82% of black men voted for Kamala Harris. 92 to 94% of black women voted for Kamala Harris. That's just within our race. But what black people forget about is that when we say the terminology, the country has spoken, we're not the majority in this country. We're way at the bottom. We're forgetting that this is what the Americans overall have said. So stop assuming because somebody didn't vote for Trump that they voted for Kamala. Stop assuming or literally kicking their ass that somebody voted for Trump if they didn't vote for Kamala and vice versa. Because if we don't vote at all, you're still going to get enough people. So a candidate has to be picked. And that's why Huey and the Panthers, my first revolutionary teacher, and just like the red, black, and green flag that the Honorable Mosiah Garvey gave us, we continue to turn it down all the way back from 1920. Black people didn't want their own party. And this goes back into what you said, brother, earlier, government in charge. We had the opportunity to have our own party because I don't care what election it is, in what branch of the government. You cannot win an election in this country without the black vote. If the black vote was given out in terms of medal, black people have the gold medal when it comes to vote. Everybody else is silver and bronze. So to answer Christopher DeWitt's question, you still is going to have a sitting president. And it still was going to be one that was not in agreement with the overall betterment of black people. Because we failed to We fail to accept that they are literally two wings of the same bird. And to show you how adequate that is, until pretty boy John F. Kennedy, like we went crazy over pretty boy Bill Clinton with the saxophone, until John F. Kennedy ran, black folks was overwhelmingly Republican. We came over to the Democratic side when that pretty boy, the late John F. Kennedy, started running for president. Well, how can you do that? Because they are attached to the same bird. It's just if you're on the left side with the Republicans for that leg, or you're on the right side, this public with the Democrats. But my thing with doing write-in voting and not voting for any president, I vote for everybody else, is because until a president, I don't give a damn what party they are, shows that they have the best interests of my people in heart, Knowledge Born 7, my gold medal vote is going to continue to hang around my throat or hang on the wall. But it ain't going to get one of them because we don't get it. And politics and religion are the two biggest dividers for black people in this country. Politics and religion are the two biggest problems for black people in this country. And ain't none one of them did none one of us any goddamn good. Because let me tell you something, to go back to something else and I took notes about. Malcolm said in Berkeley, California, a little small city right outside my home in Oakland, in 1963, on the radio station, and he made it prominent in all of his speeches. The biggest problem that black people were going to have, because here we go again, they're going to let the media and others decide who their leaders are. That's when he said you have trumpet players that are leaders. You got an athlete. How can you have a reparations meeting and don't have somebody like Brother Anderson at the meeting who's an economist? See, you got Jamal Bryant doing a fast for DEI, as the general said, miseducating the people. Because here we go again. If you do the fucking research, DEI does not help or harm black people. And I don't know what it is about that. I don't care if you put it on your wall. Who posts more valuable information on a daily basis than me? It does. But what did Al Sharpton do? I'm talking about the leader. He got the people going to Costco to support Costco for the DEI, but most of the people that he took with the cameras rolling didn't buy anything, because guess what, brother? They wasn't members. They only let them through the entry door for the photo op. Remember, you always hear me talk about, see, we photo op things. We personality worshipers. See, if Jamal Bryant say do it because he's the minister, here we go. Now, what the hell is fasting for DEI gonna do for black people? And this is what the general talk about. We got all of these people sitting behind white man's cameras and microphones and the white man's studio telling us everything that's wrong that everybody is doing to us, with the operative word being fear. But to this day, since January the 20th, as the general said, I ain't seen nobody step front with the plan. I've not seen none of these goddamn so-called self-appointed leaders say, you know what, Dialect, he don't even do comedy no more. He Kamala and Donald Trump crazy. Has he used his microphone, his camera in his studio, and all the white man's social media outlets to say, you know what, Knowledge Born 7? I'm willing to be the first to say I'm going to take $2 million of my money that the people help give me as a comedian, because it's the people that make these people rich, and it's the people that's supposed to control the government. Where do you think the saying comes from? The Panthers didn't just make that up. All power is supposed to belong to the people. You are supposed to control the damn politician. The politician is not supposed to control you, especially with fear. So how many DLUs? How many Ricky Smiley? How many Steve Harvey? How many Al Sharpton? How many Roland Martins? All of these people benefit from these so-called DEI programs, which only help Black people at 4%. If you get $300 worth of food stamps, they get 2 or 3 million. See, if you getting a grant to go to school, they getting a fucking undercover grant to one of their fake nonprofit organizations, which is another reason why. Here we go again. Donald Trump said, "I'm opening all the books." Because Al Sharpton, I don't see anything of any magnitude that the National Action Network has done to help Black people. See, y'all don't get this because you don't read. You won't research. Everything is responds with feelings and emotions displaced. So in answering his question, it wouldn't have made no difference. You still, because you have to have a president. It just would have been a president that Black people didn't vote for. Just like, again, 18 to 20 million people set this one out. And who did it help? Donald Trump. Because we don't want to admit that she was a bad candidate. See, we keep looking at each other and don't want to look at the whole country, but we don't have the numbers for us to look at each other as the whole country when a party loses an election. The country has spoken. The country don't want to see what I saw. A tampon machine hanging in a man's bathroom. What is the purpose of that? I seen Donald Trump read a letter this morning next to a Black woman that was a Democrat and her daughter. This is what we're doing, brother. This is why I get so emotional about it, because our people are sleeping, wide awake, but sleep. The daughter had a scholarship on the line. She lost the scholarship, Honorable Knowledge Born 7, because we let a man, no sex change, decide he wants to be a girl today and go in and wipe out the whole team. And she lost the scholarship. I don't understand in my right mind how somebody doesn't have a problem with that. Now, this is a letter that Donald Trump read in front of a Black Democratic mama and her daughter standing next to her. It's not fair. So we don't put pressure, no accountability. I can't leave that out, brother. We don't ask no questions, no accountability. We go along to get along. And then when they get the pins, because remember now, the president ain't the only one that does executive orders. Gavin Newsom executive order to California to goddamn death. They sit in them goddamn offices, General, and they take them pens and they do whatever the fuck you want to do. You won't write a letter. You won't even pick up the same cell phone and do what we used to do when I was a registered lobbyist, telling people you won't even flood the goddamn switchboard. You have a right to meet with any politician anywhere in this country. All you got to do is call and set up a meeting. You have the right. Let me make this clear, and then we can wrap this up. You have the right to ask to see the books for any non-profit organization, state or federal, and they have 3 days to respond. So that's why what the Umar Johnsons is doing to our people, what that brother Morrison did to our people for $11 and $12 million, see, that's our fault.
Yeah.
Because we like, just make me feel good, Knowledge Born 7. Just say something to me that makes me feel good. That's why you go to church on Sundays for 3 or 4 hours. You want that temporary feel good. And don't do like Malcolm said, have some letters or something in front. And of course, he said this more so when Dr. King realized that that famous statement, I think I have had my people run
to a burning field. Yeah.
Because in black people's eyes, Martin Luther King couldn't do no wrong. He had to admit in closing that he made the mistake.
Yeah, he made a mistake.
Before any black follower did the same thing. So when we have these R. Kellys, when we have these Umar Johnsons, that's because we don't speak up. We let them go unchecked, and this is what we do, and I'm done. But then when the white man, after sitting back watching, it ain't Ray Charles can come out of his grave and see a goddamn scam when he see one. Then he was blind when he died. So what do, brother? They sit back and they wait and they watch. They know everything we do. They know more about what we do than we do.
Yeah.
And then when they come in, brother, you tell me if I'm right or wrong, when they come in and put their version of the white man justice on your ass, like the federal government is on Umar right now, they shut both of his goddamn accounts down again, live on TV, day before yesterday. I told the general, oh, they own it. And what's going to happen? Here come the niggas. Oh, boy, the white folks all doing, but you sit around and watch them do it because we think black folks, politicians, athletes, well-to-do because of the color of their skin, not the content of their character, get a pass.
All right, brother Shock, you have any closing remarks before we end the show?
No, it's been a wonderful bill. I appreciate Brother Malik, giving us the gems and jewels that he so eloquently does, and the power and the passion behind it. So yeah, once again, it's a good learning experience, and I hope that people took some mental or physical notes, especially pertaining to the branches of government and, all those things that surrounding about how these decisions are made and what is the motivating factor to make it so easy for them to make these decisions, which is fear-based. So I appreciate both of you.
Both of you. Right. Before I go?
I do want to say this real quick. As far as the DEI program and everything that is allegedly beneficial to black people, we are at the bottom of that list. But I also want to say this too, though. Up under the Corporation of the United States of America, they and these particular companies are shareholders of the Corporation of the United States of America, Target, Walmart. So if they initiate anything, they can't forcibly make them do what they need them to do because in international commercial law, they are shareholders under the Corporation of the United States of America, which is also, internationally legally binding. But I do want to say, man, peace and power, family, everybody that joined, that tuned in. Once again, we love everybody, man. We thank everybody for the comments and everything. Our brother Shaka Sankofa will be on tomorrow. Make sure you guys check him out and go to Facebook and follow him. T Shaka Sankofa, like his name is on the screen, but put a T in front of it. He comes on, I think, probably around about between 8 and 8:30 or something like that. He'll be on. You guys go and follow him as well, like, comment, and subscribe to his Facebook lives and everything. As far as everything else, for false evidence appearing real, we must get some type of unity amongst each other. And by all means, a lot has been said tonight. A lot of law, a lot of things for us learning and to excel our minds. And just know this, that the only interest that we need to have is the interest for ourselves as a unified collective whole. If we don't have an interest for ourselves, as far as us making things happen, one thing I do like about Ice Cube's speech, he said the black people own less than 1% of the world's wealth. Brother Shaka, brother Malik, many other brothers, that we're affiliated with, we speak about this all the time, man. If we don't unify, we're gonna have a problem. That's pretty